Welcome back, folks. This is Suave, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the new reveals that just dropped for the One Piece Film Edition starter deck. So, without further ado, let's begin. Alright, let's go ahead and start things off with our leader card. We have Shanks here. Shanks is a mono purple leader. We kind of knew he was going to be a mono purple leader based off the teasers we got a few weeks ago, but now it's confirmed. He has 5,000 power with the slash trade ability. He has 5 life, so it's pretty standard stats for any mono colored leaders that we've seen so far. He has an ability activate on your main turn once per turn, Dawn -3, so you're going to be destroying 3 Dawn on your turn in order to be able to activate this ability. You have to, your film type characters gain plus 2,000 power during this turn. That's a very powerful ability if you start swarming the board with a bunch of film type characters, and this starter deck is going to be filled with nothing but film type characters. You're going to be getting a lot of value out of this. -3 Dawn is kind of a heavy price to pay. I think that's probably, yeah, because we've seen -1, -2. I think this is the first -3 if I'm not mistaken, and then we have like -5s and 6s or something like that. -3 is still a pretty significant amount to destroy, but you get a huge benefit out of it, no doubt. Alrighty, next up we got Carina. So Carina is a nice small little character. She costs 2 with a power of 3,000, the wisdom attack trait. She has a counter plus 1,000, so plus 1,000 is really good because that means she's not going to be dead in her hand. We're not going to be too upset if we draw into her. Main ability, once per turn, rest this character. You may trash 1 film type card from your hand. If your opponent has more Dawn cards on their field than you, add 2 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and rest them. This is a really strong ramp ability. Trash 1 card, gain 2 Dawn. It's very similar to the purple starter deck Jack, where Jack discards a card and gains you 1 Dawn, but that Dawn is active. In this case, she does give you 2 rested Dawn, but that is still a very powerful ramp ability. Now, it is tied to only film type characters, so you need to run, if you're going to be using Carina outside of the film starter deck, your purple deck needs to be filled with more film type characters in order to really make her ability useful. And it might be hard to build that. We'll see what that looks like in the future when we see more of these cards, and whether or not we can really do mix them in with more purple cards. We'll see what that looks like. But standalone here in the starter deck, she is amazing. She's going to give you 2 ramps. That is pretty much really good value. Now this next card is probably one of my personal favorites. This is Gild Tesoro, 5 cost for 6,000. When attacking, Dawn -2, you get to draw 2 cards. Just flat out draw 2 cards. No, there's no restriction to being a film type character or anything. You could put Gild Tesoro in any purple deck and he's going to give you draw 2 cards. And purple is really good overall, just getting Dawns back, ramping up. And so Gild Tesoro, in my opinion, is going to be an S tier card. We know we already got Kyoshiro from the main set, who lets you draw 1 just for having 8 Dawn on your field. But I think Gild Tesoro, for the same stats and just Dawn -2, and I think Dawn -2 is really not going to be that bad, especially for all these purple decks that are going to be able to gain a lot of Dawn back. They're going to want to see Gild Tesoro over Kyoshiro. Now maybe there's room for both of them, but there's still that's a lot of 5 costs for 6,000. I mean, they do let you draw, but I think you might, if you had to choose one over the other, I would definitely choose Gild Tesoro over Kyoshiro. Gild Tesoro, easily one of the best cards I've seen so far. Now, I will say that he doesn't have a counter. I forgot to mention that he does not have a counter, so you want to play him on the field as soon as possible because you don't want him to just stay dead in your hand, and you need to have other cards in your hand, and he's going to let you get those other cards by drawing too. But regardless, yeah, you're going to feel bad if he's in your hand for a very long time. Play him as soon as possible. Those 2 cards are going to be very beneficial. Next up, we got Shiki, the Golden Lion himself, a 6 cost for 7,000 power with the slash attribute. He has a counter of plus 1,000. He just has 1 simple static ability. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards in your field, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. This is ridiculously strong. So in my experience, when having 7,000 power or more characters on the field, people are less inclined to really want to swing into them. They usually try to use effects anyways to try to take them out. It's very rare in my experience that people try to swing into 7,000 power characters unless they've reduce their power in some way or doing some other abilities with other characters. But it's very significant that he doesn't die when battling. Now he can still die to event cards or any other card effects like that don't involve him being in battle. One of them being Ultima plus Gum Pistol. So if you get Jet Pistol and Ultima out there, that little combo, bring him down to 5,000. Now he's targetable to Jet Pistol. You can KO him that way, even though your opponent has a Dawn or more. Next up is one of my personal favorite movie villains of all. It is Z. He is a 7 cost for 8,000 power with the strike attribute. No counter, so he's a very costly character. He has no counter. You definitely not happy if you draw into him early. He's going to be dead in your hand, especially if you don't have an opportunity to play him. However, if this character battles with a strike attribute character, this character gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. So it's going to be pretty much free, and getting that 3,000 power as long as you're attacking people that also have the strike attribute. Active once per turn, Dawn -1. This character gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. So he can pretty much boost himself up. If you're attacking maybe the leader, you can boost himself to 10,000. If you're attacking a very strong strike ability character, you can bring him up to as much as 13,000 without having to really invest too much into him. He's very strong. I think he's gonna see limited play only because I think his abilities are just a little bit limited to what characters it could actually encounter. Now that being said, 7 cost to do 10,000 power just to do -1 Dawn is very significant still, but I think there are other characters that you want to play that are around that 7 plus Dawn cost, and so I'm not sure if Z is going to see a whole lot of play. I might be wrong on that, but for now I think you're going to see some other characters that are going to be taking up that high cost slot. Now speaking of characters that take up that high cost slot, 8 cost for 10,000, Douglas Bullet from Stampede himself with a special attack attribute. Very powerful ability, once per turn, Dawn -4, so that's a very significant amount of Dawn that you're trying to trash. You can rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. Then this character gains double attack during this turn. Being able to rest 2 characters that are 6 or less is extremely powerful. Dawn -4 is a small price to pay if you're going to either one of 2 options you're going to use Douglas Bullet for. You're going to rest 2 blockers, and if I'm not mistaken, I think every single blocker so far in this game is a 6 cost or less. There's no blocker that costs 7 or more, so he's going to be able to automatically rest any 2 blockers in the game, and that opens up the opponent for a very big attack. Douglas Bullet on his own is already 10,000 power. That's very hard to counter unless you have a lot of counter and Dawns in your hand and you have some Dawns active on your field. Otherwise, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. Double attack, you're going to be losing 2 life from 1 character, and on top of that, there's still probably other characters that are on the field that are going to be swinging in after him to try to close out the game. Now in the second scenario, you can use Douglas Bullet as a way to just clear the board and get some more control in order to be able to have more an advantage in the upcoming turns. You can rest up to 2 6 cost or less characters. There are a lot of powerful and useful 6 cost, 5 cost, even 4 cost characters that you would love to be able to just have them rested and just start swinging on them and control the board so that you can get more advantage coming up in the upcoming turns. On top of that, Douglas Bullet isn't really someone who can be countered very easily. He has an 8 cost of 10,000. There's a very limited amount of cards that can actually deal with him right away, which means he's going to stick around on the board, and I think he's going to see a lot of play. I think he's going to be that surprise 1 or 2 of that people just bust out, and when he hits the field, you're gonna feel it when he hits the field, because by the next turn it's gonna be painful. There's gonna be a whole lot of game changers that are gonna be happening because of Douglas Bullet. Next up, we got another Stampede character, that's Buena Fiesta. 1 cost for 0 power, the Wisdom attack attribute, counter plus 2,000, so it's very standard to what we've been seeing with these 1 cost 0 power characters. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 film type card. Notice it says film type card, not just character, other than Buena Fiesta, and add it to your hand. then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So he's going to be very useful for any deck, especially the starter deck, but any deck that runs a lot of film characters, and he's going to be able to search for them. Pretty much any search ability like this is going to be very useful. It has a lot of flexibility. You recycle him, get another card into your hand, or just use them as a plus 2000 counter, which is always going to be very useful. Plus 2000s are very powerful. So last but not least, we have Union Armada. This is the events card, or one of the events cards in this starter deck. It is a 2 cost, it is a counter, so you can only play it on your opponent's turn. Up to one of your film type leader or characters gain plus 4000 power during this battle. So kind of standard stats what we've been seeing with some of the other plus 4000s. If this card is a character, that character cannot be KO'd during this turn. That is very powerful, very significant. If you have a threat on the board that your opponent is wanting to take out, even if it's something as low as like a 5000 or a 6000, you just play this card. They get protected for that one battle, and for the rest of the turn they can't be KO'd. It doesn't matter what happens to them, they just can't be KO'd. So I think even event cards like Jet Pistol that says to KO that character, they can't KO this. So it's very flexible in that regards. The only thing that you can really do in that regards is maybe bounce them back to your hand or tuck them on the bottom of the deck, but otherwise this is very powerful. But again, this is only for film type leader or character cards, so you're only going to be able to do this on film characters. You're most likely, I mean, if you're playing Shanks as the leader card, you're immediately going to put this in your deck. Outside of Shanks, it really depends on how many film characters and how many film characters you want to protect with this card. Otherwise, outside of the Shanks deck, I think this might see some limited play, but we'll see what that looks like in the future. That's going to do it for today, folks. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think about these starter deck cards. And if you enjoyed this video, you find yourself coming back to this channel, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. It helps me out a whole lot. We're going to be bringing more content and more One Piece card game news like this in the future. So with that being said, I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.